Welcome back to another episode of the FallBall Fellas. Guys, once again, we're missing someone. This time, it's Hunter. Phil is back on the podcast here. A little bit depressed from all the college football and the Penn State losing the last 2 weeks. We will talk about them in further detail a little bit. Phil, what's up, man?
There's nothing to say. I mean, they're getting paid a bunch of money to lose games at this point. I'm calling the coaching staff, players, all of them. I will say that wasn't the UCLA team that we saw the first 4 weeks of the year. I do think that new coach, I say new because they were already on the staff, but they weren't in the positions they are in, gave them a jolt of energy, and you could tell like they were playing like they had nothing to lose. And good for them. Honestly, good for them. But that was not the same UCLA team that I saw in the first month of the year. And Penn State played bad, not taken away from UCLA, but I don't know. That UCLA team could go win 5 or 6 more games in their schedule. That's all I'll say.
So I'm going to do my blitz real quick, and then we will go into that Penn State game in further detail. This is just going to be our top 25 in recap. So this isn't in any particular order, just kind of what I have written down here. So one of our FallBall Five last week, we had Iowa State going into Cincinnati. Do you know their stadium's name, where it's at? I think it's just in Cincinnati. So
it's literally in Cincinnati. I don't know the name of
Cincinnati.
I
want to know their name of the stadium, so I sound woke. But all right, Iowa State, pretty much from start to finish in that game, looked overwhelmed. Cincinnati drew a big lead in the first half and just pretty much held on. We had Alabama grinding out Vanderbilt. What was a tie game at halftime ended up being Alabama just slowly draining clock, getting scores down the road. Vanderbilt did well, but Alabama really adjusted their defense to cover the run in that second half. Score is not indicative of this next game. Miami, in my opinion, dominated that game from start to finish against Florida State and then kind of turned off the Jets a little bit. So that score is not indicative of how that game actually played out. So we have teams that just kept winning. Ohio State against Minnesota. Once again, dominant performance. They let Minnesota score on the opening drive, a field goal, and then proceeded to not let them really get any type of yardage the rest of the game. Texas Tech beat Houston. Oklahoma beat Kent State. BYU beat West Virginia on Friday night. Michigan beat Wisconsin in a pretty ugly game. A&M beat Mississippi State. Georgia beat Kentucky. Notre Dame beat Boise. Illinois beat Purdue. And then Virginia went on the road and I'd say pulled an upset. They were a 7-point underdog, winning in I think it was just single overtime against Louisville. That might not seem like a big game to some people because Louisville wasn't ranked and Virginia's sitting at 24. But a lot of these, I'll say like top tier ACC teams are still fighting for probably the second bid in that championship game beside Miami. So games like that do have a little bit of importance, I'd say, even in October. We have undefeated teams still on the list. We have Oregon, Indiana, Ole Miss, Georgia Tech, Missouri, Memphis, North Texas, Navy, and UNLV. Memphis, for the first time all season, enters the top 25. USF will enter the top 25 for the second time. And the two teams that fell out, and we'll talk about those teams in further detail, Texas and Penn State. I want to get into Texas first here. Did you you got eyes on this game, I'm assuming, or no?
Yeah. I stopped watching football after the Penn State game.
This game was also at the same time, so if you had the Penn State game on full screen, you probably weren't watching this either.
Yeah, I didn't switch the channel much. I did a little bit before half with the Alabama Vanderbilt game, but yeah. I mean, honestly, Texas has looked like a pretender the entire season.
Yeah.
I think if they play Ohio State right now, they lose by 28 to 35 points. Just to be real. I think they caught them first game of the season and it looked close. But yeah, no. I think Sarkisian is in trouble. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I will bridge the gap between those two, but I got eyes on the end of this game and I was able to see quite a few replays of this. So Florida, and I want to make sure I get these names right, they got Dallas Wilson, this freshman wide receiver, playing for the first time all year, and him and Lagway established a pretty quick connection, 2 touchdowns over the course of the game. Lagway played pretty clean football, only, I believe, turning over the ball, one time, and then the tight end fumble it once. But overall, like, Texas defense didn't impress me. Florida's offense has looked atrocious for the entirety of the season. and Texas defense, who we thought was going to be one of the most elite in college, let Florida throw the football on them. And they have not been able to do that on really any other team, with South Florida included in that mix. So Texas, I would actually put as more of a disappointment than Penn State to this point in time, for the sole fact that they were preseason number one. They had the preseason Heisman favorite. They are probably spending 5 to 10 million more on their NIL budget for their roster than Penn State. So Texas is overall, I think, the most disappointing story in college thus far. But Penn State and I'd say Clemson as well are two very, very close contenders. We'll jump more into that Penn State game, though.
I'm going to pick out of those three teams one to like rebound and still have a good season. I would say Penn State, just because of their schedule and their ability. I will say, I still don't think we're a bad team. I think we had a bad week after we played our toughest game probably of the year to start, and it just snowballed. But I will say, I think Texas, the way that team played against Florida from the highlights I saw, they might have 4 or 5 like losses at the end of the year, and Penn State will only have 3. I really do. Because I think if they don't only have 3, Franklin might get fired.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
But then Clemson, I think, bar none, is the biggest. They just, the way they started the season, I think they're the biggest disappointment in college football. I mean, already have 3 losses. I mean, who they lost to as well, right? I don't know. I just think Clemson has by far been the biggest disappointment. Penn State and Texas are not far behind. It's kind of like a tier 1 and tier 1A and tier 1B, really. But yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they're all bad.
Yeah.
All bad.
Now, I will say, with the national narrative, it would be the most Penn State thing to do, and I thought about this, to give us literally no hope, and this be the year we beat Ohio State in Columbus. That'd be the most Penn State thing to ever exist.
Well, it's very similar to I believe it was the 2016 year with Franklin, with like Saquon and that whole team. Penn State ended up going 10-2, making the Big Ten championship game, winning it, and missing out. Lost to Pitt and Michigan, and they beat Ohio State. I believe that game was at home, though. That was the big.
But what I will say for Penn State fans who are all doom and gloom, including myself, is that season looked very much over.
Yeah.
And it ended up being one of the, I don't know, best seasons in the last 20 years. So, I mean, it's not over. It's just we're disappointed because we thought, it at worst we'd be 4-1 coming out of the first 5 games. I mean, really.
Yeah. Yeah. And we were favored in all 5 of those. So easily could have came out 5-0. I mean, although
really not going to hold much against them in the Oregon game, just because I feel like Oregon is definitely a top 5 team in the country, like bar none.
But one thing I did want to bring up here is that in 2024, I know we have a small sample size right now. I think we can all remember back to the USC game last year that Penn State traveled for. It was a really sleepy start. And Penn State went down that game early, and we're pretty fortunate to come back and end up winning that game. Big Ten teams were 6-22 last year when traveling through the time zones. So
I think that had a part for sure.
It has a huge part. You like every athlete, and I know me and you played soccer. You have a body clock, and if you get off that normal routine and schedule, which they try to adjust their schedule slightly around their playing times, but if you're playing, let's just say a noon kickoff game on the West Coast, it's 9 a.m. your time. Or sorry, my bad. Other way around. You're playing noon at on the East Coast, and you're from the West Coast.
3 hours difference.
Yeah, 3 hour difference. So you're playing at 9 a.m. Even for like Penn State, that was a noon game for them. There was a 12:30 start time basically on their time clocks, and we know how Penn State shows up during big noon games. Like they're a sleepy team. So the time zone definitely does have a role to play. And also, like you said, UCLA didn't have anything to lose, and they played like it. They completely changed their style. They played to Nico's strengths, using his legs, because quite frankly, his legs are so long, it's nearly impossible to tackle him. He's also fast too. And then that onside kick that they went for after their first touchdown, they saw a scouting report, and I don't know any normal matchup where a team would kick an onside kick unless they were 0-4 playing a 3-1 team. So
It was a
Good
tale of
scouting
two
report.
halves. It was just a tale of two halves. Penn State outplayed them in the second half. They outscored them 30-15. In the first
Yep.
half, UCLA outscored them 27-7. So by the time Penn State woke up, it was a little bit too late because UCLA was playing inspired football at that point. Like I said, I still don't think. I think if that game gets played 10 times, Penn State wins 9, and you saw the one that they didn't, basically. Um, but hey, that's college football. That's why we love it. So there you go.
What percentage would you, okay, if you had to put a percentage on fault that you would place on the coaching staff versus the players, what would you divvy that percentage up?
90% coaches.
Okay. That's good because I'm going 90 to 95% coaches. Kodal Nicky's scheme just doesn't work. Let's be real here. That there were several situations of play calls that he made at certain points in time, like that 4th and 2, where we're running a quarterback read option. Horrible play call. And also, he ran that play 3 times, and it's one of the most common plays we run with the Trevor Pena jet sweep. We faked it, and we're going to do a QB draw. There's 2 things you can do out of that. Other things, like Luke Reynolds couldn't block to save his life, and he dropped the game-tying touchdown pass in the end zone as well. He had a rough game. LR is the only reason Penn State was close. His line wasn't really blocking for him too well. Chains with his legs. And then he finally
played really, really well.
He did. And his people will say, oh, like if you're the losing quarterback of a team that gets upset like that, everyone always wants to blame the most important position. How about Jim Knowles not putting a quarterback spy on Nico after the first 60-yard run? He put a QB spy on one play that I saw, and it was the one where denied Dennis Sutton, who's supposedly a first-round draft pick, literally gets faked with an inside move, and then Nico outraces him. He doesn't even try to chase him down. Like, if you're a first-round draft pick, you know you have help to the middle of the field. You don't have help to the boundary. And also, Penn State was crashing their DNs every play and letting Nico get around the edge. At what point do you say, hey, let's maintain the edges and just like drop back and even play 2 guys? Because that second half, Nico was like 2 for 8 for 6 yards throwing the football.
Jim Knowles got completely out schemed. And it was actually depressing because I think it's a scenario if Tony Rojas is playing, Nico doesn't have near the success he has.
Why is DeLuca playing it? Why aren't we playing some young guys that can move a little bit quicker?
Because the young guys are bad and miss assignments. I mean, dude, we don't have an answer. I mean, as much as people don't want to hear it, we have talented young kids who don't know the defense yet. So they'll look just as lost as DeLuca, if not more.
I got to be real, though. Throw one of the young guys out that are a little bit quicker and just have him play spy.
Well, I don't know.
Spy is I get to stare at the QB.
Safety. Why didn't we use a third safety and just have him quarterback spy? King Mack is plenty fast to keep up with Nico.
Yep.
I don't understand why we didn't. Also, how do we not know this is the one way they could win the game? Like, don't get me worked up. Like, let's just not get into it because this coaching staff gets paid a ton of money, and literally the only way UCLA wins that game is if Nico goes off, and that is what happened. How did you not see that before the game?
One thing I did want to say here was the play or the sequence of events that upset me the most. And this is where my fault goes on Franklin. Number one, you see guys like Ryan Day. And I don't know if you heard that whole controversy when we hired Jim Knowles of every Ohio State fan saying, you guys overpaid for this dude. Ryan Day took over the defense after the Oregon game, which is why you saw a dramatic shift. And I saw that, and it's actually starting to ring true. I'm not saying the dude's a bad DC, but he did not make any adjustments. But this is where the Franklin stuff ticks me off. And quite frankly, if I had $56 million, I would have given my money away to get Franklin off this. So this is the drive right before halftime for Penn State. We have a 10-yard loss, 20-yard pass play. So Penn State is at the 35. They 6-yard pass. Pass interference. So they have the ball at the UCLA 44 coming out of the 2-minute warning. We run 2 straight running plays to get the clock down to under a minute. 2 running plays to get the clock to under a minute. All right. No timeouts were used. We had all 3 timeouts at this point in time. And then what happens? We run again with Drew Allar. Get stopped at a 4th and 2. No timeouts were used this entire time. And then he gets sacked with 27 seconds left. Instead of taking a timeout to make a better play call, We run the ball 3 straight plays, lose 1:30 off the clock, and then he ends up getting sacked, putting them into field goal range. What is that? Like, I know 5-year-olds that could know how to use a timeout in that situation. And then at the end of the game, and I know
staff's fault. It's
horrendous. Like,
yeah.
what was, I'm watching this and I'm like, we're not even acting like we're trying to score right now. And what was even more worse, yes, that 4th and 2 at the end of the game after we finally made a defensive stop, terrible. What the heck were we doing on the last drive of the game? You have a strong-armed quarterback. So what do? We throw a swing pass to Nick Singleton for 1 yard. I hope they do know the clock stops in college. So once you get a first down, you can pretty much clock the ball and only lose like a second if you throw the ball over the first down marker in the middle of the field. So we throw a swing pass. Aller then chucks one towards the sideline, and then we do a 1 pitch and get tackled to end the game. Why are we at least not trying to get to the 40-yard line to just at least throw a Hail Mary or something like that? Like,
I'm more concerned about the fact that on the 4th and 2 play call, we decided to run a jet sweep, whatever motion.
It was a fake jet sweep quarterback run.
Well, it was supposed to be. It was an option. He could have handed it off.
Yeah.
Trevor Penn
exactly.
got blown up because UCLA was selling out for the run. So any little play action throw would have been probably wide open.
Yeah.
And you had a quarterback who played really, really well. So I'm confused how you take the ball out of his hands and give him a chance to throw the ball and get 3 yards.
When he was cooking with the ball in his hand. And also,
that's what
congratulations. We threw the ball up to a wide receiver, and Kyron Hudson came down with a tough catch. We have guys that can win one-on-ones. Drew should take some more chances, but also let's draw some more stuff up in the scheme so that he can get stuff down the field.
Let's digress because we could talk about this for hours.
That's true. That's true. All right. Do you have a new team of destiny? And guys, before we do this, I just want everyone back before we do all this dramatic music and stuff like that. So, Phil, who we got team of destiny this week? Unfortunately, Vanderbilt fell. I don't know if you still want to keep them or if we're going with someone else this week.
Vanderbilt's not off my radar as team of destiny, like down the road. I actually wasn't at all, deflated by their game against Alabama. If anything, it proved to me that they are a half-decent team and they will be in every game they play this year because I think Alabama's playing the best football in the SEC right now. So, and it was at Alabama, correct? So, they're not off my radar, but I am going to have to go with a team who I don't think many people saw them being this good this year. And also didn't see them being this good last year. And I actually think it will be a 1-score game at Autzen Stadium. And I'm going to say Indiana. Just because they played a tough game at Iowa, I think, this past weekend, won by 5, right? Last minute touchdown.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. It was
2 weeks ago, yeah. It was their last game.
Them and Oregon both had a bye this week. So.
Yeah. But it was their last game, right? Game they played. Yeah, okay. And Kinnick's not an easy place to play. I'll tell anybody that. Iowa, weird things happen in Kinnick Stadium. I've seen it. It's very weird.
We have to play a night game there next week.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not looking forward to it. Let's beat Northwestern and then worry about that. But I think Indiana's not getting enough credit. I mean, Illinois isn't they're really not a terrible team. And Indiana blew their brakes off. I'm not saying Illinois is like a top 10 team, but they're definitely top 25, and Indiana beat them by, 50?
Yeah, 53.
So, I don't know. They have to be because Indiana hasn't been good at football until really these last 2 years. And you know what? If Penn State's not going to win a national title, or Tennessee, I will say that, I would love to see someone like Indiana pull it off. Like, I really would. I wouldn't mind it at all. So, yeah, they're my team of destiny. Go Hoosiers. Okay. Normally a basketball school this year. Football school.
Okay. Heck yeah. All right, go Hoosiers. All right, we are going to go over our FallBall 5 from this past week. So it was it was a good week for myself. I went 4-1. I went 22-13.
I went 1-4, right?
Phil went 0-5. That is the first 0-5 we have this season. So
I'm not scared to
I
pick underdogs.
I got very lucky though. You and Hunter were on the right side of that Washington Maryland game, and Maryland decided to blow a 20-0 lead in the second half.
Yeah, though that was insane. I didn't even like watch that game, but I was like, "Oh yeah, Maryland won," and then I looked back at the score and I was like, "Wait, they
Yep.
lost." I was like, "What
I
happened?"
did. I turned that game off because I thought it was over, and then
Yeah,
yeah,
wow.
next thing I know,
Hey,
Washington's
good on
winning.
Washington for not giving up.
Yeah.
Honestly, good for them.
But yeah, you were a big underdog guy last week. So you went 0-5, and Hunter went 1-4. So not the greatest week from you two. I jumped out to a 4-game lead. Hunter's at 18-17, and you were at 15-20. Before we get into the 5 official ones that we're using for it, there's 3 other big matchups this week that we can just chat about real quick. So Ohio State at Illinois. Do we think the Buckeyes have any problems here? We were just talking about Illinois there. Do they have any
No, because I
problems?
think Ohio State's better than Indiana. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That line has gotten bet down to 14.5. I think Ohio State should cover that with ease.
the only way I don't see it happening is if Illinois somehow controls the line of scrimmage on offense and just runs the ball. I mean,
Yep.
they're going to try to shorten the game. I mean, they are. So
I
if
don't
they
see
can
that
be
happening.
if they could be successful, it could be a one-score
Yep.
game at the end.
Well,
But
so the one thing that Illinois has been really good at this year has actually been throwing the football.
yeah, I know.
Altmaier just threw for 390 and I believe 5 touchdowns this past game against Purdue. Their running game hasn't really gotten to it, and I don't know if you've had a chance to see the Ohio State defense only giving up 5 points per game. If we were talking about national title favorites right now, I believe Ohio State is the favorite anyways, but I would actually put a mortgage down on them with how solid they look. I mean, I'm just going
not
to take Ohio
convinced they've
State.
played anybody.
They haven't, and I guess this is probably going to be their hardest matchup outside of Texas.
I think this
But
is a
also,
good like litmus test for them.
Yeah.
Let's see. I mean, but I will say, like, yeah, Ohio State would definitely be one of my title favorites. But like, if we're counting the Texas game as like their cornerstone win so far, how has that aged? Right?
it doesn't
So,
look great
like,
so far. Yeah, we'll see how those teams end up. Like, I'll say, aside from this, I really hope UCLA wins a few more games. So if they can even make a bowl game, that makes it look less terrible for Penn State's playoff chances, even if
I
they
will
were
say
maybe
if
to
Penn
drop to
State
Ohio
wins
State.
out, they'll be in the playoff. I mean,
Yeah.
there's enough good wins there that it would get the job done.
And
Especially
you're going to
if
have a
Ohio
lot of
State's going to be number
3-loss
1.
teams.
Yeah.
You're going to have a bunch of 3-loss teams in there. So, all right, next game, Florida at A&M. Florida just sprung an upset. A&M just kind of choked the life out of Mississippi State, but I feel like this is going to be a closer game than the spread indicates. 7.5.
I don't.
You think A&M takes care of business?
I think this is the best A&M team we've seen in a while, probably since Johnny Manziel. Really,
their defense is nasty.
Yeah. So the Johnny Manziel's team was the offense.
Yeah.
This year's team's the defense. Now I will say Marcel Reed's no slouch.
He's playing better.
Yeah. I think they're very, very good this year. Do I think they're the best in the SEC? No, just because I think Ole Miss, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee even have. I think there's one tier of the SEC, and it's those 5 teams, and then Vanderbilt's right under it.
Okay.
But those 5 teams, I think anybody can beat anybody, and if in those matchups, I really do. I don't know. I just think Texas A&M seems very good this year. I don't think it's going to be close. Florida, I think, played an overrated Texas team, and Florida's defense has been great all year. Let's not fake that. Their offense has been terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if Texas A&M can just hold Florida's offense like most teams have done this year, I think they squeeze the life out of them just like they did with Mississippi State. Ultimately,
yeah. Okay. My only thing here is that Billy Napier went on a little bit of a tear last year to keep his job once he got his team kind of behind his back.
I think he's trying to do the same thing, but I think he's going to ultimately end up getting fired.
I mean, he probably should, because at the end of the day, if you're losing 3 games in the first month of the season and then just like happening to go on a streak to make a decent bowl game, like that's not Florida's goal at the end of the day. It's to make SEC championships.
Let's put it that way. Yeah. So
yeah. All right, and then Georgia Auburn. This one I'm a little surprised. I know it's kind of tough to go down.
Auburn?
It's at Auburn, yeah. It's a 3.5-point spread for Georgia. I would probably just take Georgia money line and some kind of lay here, but I think Georgia wins this game. Auburn's defense is good, but their offense has not shown me anything to be able to keep pace. But I see this definitely being lower scoring.
I think Georgia wins by, I don't know, Auburn. This is the first team
45.
they've had in a while that's had a pulse. So
You
that
say
plays,
Auburn?
yeah.
They played
So
Oklahoma.
no. I'm saying this is the first Auburn team that has actually had a
Oh,
pulse in a
oh,
while.
gotcha, gotcha.
I'm not saying they're great, but they're good enough to where that stadium's going to be rocking.
Hmm.
Um, whereas the last, I don't know, 5-6 years, not really. They've been pretty bad in general. Um, yeah, I think it's going to be closer than people think. I really wouldn't be surprised because this is also a rivalry that funky things happen. If this
Hmm.
comes down to a last minute score either way, I really wouldn't be surprised. That's
Yeah,
all.
I remember a much better Georgia team needed Brock Bowers to go like Super Saiyan 2 years ago
Yeah,
to get a win.
against a
So
much worse Auburn team.
yeah, and
So
Hugh Freeze is playing for his job every single game as well. He's someone that might not have a job for too long. All right, we're gonna officially get into our fall ball five here. We have our first matchup. We are going to go Indiana at Autzen Stadium, going to play Oregon. What do you got here? It's a 7.5 spread in favor of Oregon.
I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna go Indiana. I'm
There
gonna
we
go
go.
Indiana. I'm sorry. I have to. They just make me want to like them, and
Well,
I want to
here's
like
the thing: you have to go for your team of destiny, or else it's not a team of
exactly. I
destiny.
know.
All right, so I'm just gonna go nice and easy here. Seeing all the statistics and stuff about the cross country travel, I'm just gonna go with the home team here. I know it's chalky because they're 7.5 point favorites, but Hunter is also on the same thing.
Does Indiana go to the top five if they find a way to win this game?
Yeah, yeah. I
Top
think they
three,
could.
probably.
No, 5
Okay.
on the dot.
I don't know.
There's no
Even
way
the number two team at Oregon.
they won't. They won't jump Ohio State. Obviously, they won't jump Miami. I don't see them jumping A&M.
Maybe though,
Yeah, maybe. I'm not going to rule it out, but
but
I
definitely
just,
top five.
yeah, I don't know if I see them jumping all the way up into the top three, but honestly, they'd be pretty deserving of it, beating Illinois by that. So, next game, we have a 3 point spread. Bama going to Missouri. 3 point favorite for Bama.
Missouri was a big, and this might be a spoiler alert, a big on Phil's team of destiny radar team. Bo Buela's balling that team. That place is going to be rocking. That's a
Yes.
very good Missouri team. Um, I think they're going to give Alabama everything they can handle. Give me Missouri. I just talked myself into it. I like it.
So I'm actually going to follow with you here. Hunter's going to be the lone man on Bama. As much as I've liked Alabama here, they have had a habit under DeBoer to lose games they shouldn't. And I mean, this game's pretty much a toss up, indicative of the
I
line
think
here.
the away stadium makes it even. I
Yeah,
do.
yeah, and also with Missouri, the one thing I will say is I genuinely think Missouri's rushing attack is scarier than Vanderbilt's, and Alabama couldn't stop Vandy's for an entire half. I also think Bo can throw the football better than Diego Pavia. So I think Missouri in general has a better offense and a better defense and are more well equipped to handle Bama.
I also, this might be a hot take, but who did Alabama lose to start the year?
Florida State.
I think Missouri's rushing attack is better than Florida State's in
I would
totality.
fully agree with that. Ahmad
In
Hardy is a top
totality.
3 running back. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Bo can scoot.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think Alabama's going to have their hands full. But I will say Bo will have to make a couple big throws in this game.
Yes.
And if he cannot, that will be the difference. But if he can, like I think he can, Missouri's going to be in this game till the very end, if not winning. So
Exactly. I fully agree. This should be a nail biter there at the end. Next one, USC 2.5 point favorite, having the Wolverines coming into Cali.
give me USC. Michigan's
Okay.
overrated. I'm over it.
All right, I'm on your side too, and this is the same precedent as the 3 hour travel, or 3 hour time difference. That's
I
why I'm going
also
with
just
USC.
think like Bryce Underwood is going to be very, very good down the road.
Yeah,
He is not there yet.
his wide receivers also can't catch.
Well,
So,
yes, but he is not there yet as a quarterback, as a
oh,
passing
yeah, for sure.
quarterback. I think he's
Yeah.
very skilled athletically. Don't get me wrong,
Hmm.
but
He's playing very well for a freshman, but yeah, he's not at that tier yet. And this game, winner of this game does have a very linear path to the college football playoff. Losers basically out. They both are teams with one loss. Um, Michigan hasn't lost a Big Ten game yet, so this is a pretty big game for the playoffs. I'm going to roll, like I said, with you, and Hunter's going to be on the Michigan side of that.
He would.
Next game, I'm going to save the most exciting one for last. So we're going to go Oklahoma going to Texas in Austin. Texas is a 1.5-point favorite. This has been bet down to 1.5. It was 3.5 at open.
Not playing, right?
He is questionable from what I understand. He hasn't been ruled out.
Okay, but even if he plays, he's not going to be 100%.
Probably not.
I think, dude, this rivalry is just so. I've seen bad Texas teams beat good Oklahoma teams. I've seen bad Oklahoma teams beat good Texas teams. In Austin, give me Texas.
Gosh, Phil, we're outside of that first matchup, I'm on your side here for a lot of these. I think with the inability to know how healthy Mateer is going to be in Texas coming off that loss, there's going to be a fight under their butt, much like Penn State, although Penn State has a much easier competition this weekend. I guess we'll see. But, yeah, I'm on your side here. I think Texas gets right. Hunter's on Oklahoma. So last game, and this one is huge for the Group of 5 bid for the college football playoff. We have USF, who has a couple of big wins already, 1.5-point favorites traveling to North Texas, who is undefeated at this very moment in time.
Give me North
Phil,
Texas.
All right.
I've been keeping an eye on them.
I'm also going to take North Texas. Hunter is on the other side. So this is either a big me and you are going to rise up together, or Hunter's going to catch
crash us out. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
We'll find out, I guess. So there you go.
Hey, the chances of us probably splitting those series are rather high. All right. That's going to be the end of the college football. We're going to get into NFL right now. I'll do a little bit of the recap thing that I did for college earlier. Just the kind of big storylines that happened this past weekend.
Hold on. Breaking news. The NCAA is officially moving transfer portal season in college football from December to January.
Just do that in March when the season's over.
This changes it too. It's only a 2-week window.
Okay. That's
January
better then.
2nd to January 16th.
I wish it was a little bit later so that the guys in the playoffs had chances.
Yeah,
but
I don't know
whatever.
why they don't do January 16th to like January 31st. Like what?
Yeah. Or just do like the same thing but in February. Just the games will be over. Whatever. All right. Big upset with all the injuries that the 49ers faced last Thursday. They played, they're in the same state anyways, but the Niners went to SoFi, got a big upset victory in overtime there, getting a stop on 4th down to ice that game. Another few big stories. Geno Smith, probably the worst quarterback in the NFL right now. I'm going to put that a dime down on that. He's been awful.
Definition of system
dominant.
Quarterback. He was a system quarterback in Seattle. Definition.
Exactly. Colts dominant, though. Looking really good. We had the Browns lose very early on in the last minute against the Minnesota Vikings.
Sum it all up, dude. AFC North lost. The Steelers still looking
Flacco,
good, baby.
Flacco traded today about 6 hours ago. We are recording this. We always release usually the day after. But Flacco is now on the Bengals.
Grasping for straws to keep their season alive.
They should have got, I will still right hand up to God, you should have gotten Jameis. Now you have an even bigger sack of potatoes just sitting in the pocket that you can't protect. What was this pickup?
I don't think it was a good one.
No. And I really, at this stage in their career, I think Browning might be a better thrower than Flacco. So Flacco's just old.
I don't know, dude. There's a lot going on. By the way, go ahead and give props. I don't think Dylan Gabriel had a bad debut, by the way, now that I'm thinking about it. I'm really confused why he didn't start the season because he looked better than Flacco. Like, really. Yeah. I mean,
Flacco has 2 touchdowns and 6 picks this season, so it was only a matter of time for him to get benched.
Yeah, well, but my point is how do the coaches not see that this guy has, whatever. These guys get paid a lot of money, and a lot of times they weenie out, pick the veteran when the rookie should play. But whatever.
Literally. All right. So moving forward.
How about Baltimore, dude? What do you think about that?
That was literally what I was just going to talk about.
What do you think?
I think this is a case of the ravaged by injuries in I'd say kind of a pivotal time of the season where you had a lot of these winnable type games, but they dropped to 1-4 now?
Yep.
And
they got blown out, by the way. this weekend.
Yeah,
Blown out.
this was not even close. Now, the offensive line can't block. Derrick Henry can't get going. Lamar's definitely going to miss this next week. They're going to let him sit because their buys the following week. I know he's like game time decision, but I don't foresee him playing.
I think they're going to be
They,
1-5 going into the bye.
I do as well. And at that point, like, I don't know what you do from a Ravens perspective. They did make a trade today too. They traded Adafe Owe for, I believe it's like a lowly Gilman. I can't think of his first name right now.
Yeah,
It's something
something
along
like
there.
that, yeah.
But a safety for one of their edge rushers. Matabike's out for the year. I believe Humphreys either on IR or out for the year. And then Kyle Hamilton's been injured too. So, like, this is not a good situation for the Ravens. They are on, and yes, you can see by the record, but they are fully on probably not going to make the playoffs warning unless they turn something around fast.
All I'm going to say is their back end of the schedule looks very favorable. But the issue with it is if you start the season 1-5, even if Lamar comes back, he's probably not going to be 100%. Right away, at least, not 100%. It's a hamstring, right? Like those don't heal overnight.
Yeah.
Like they just don't.
No.
And you give yourself this much room for error after that. 1-5, because if you drop one, even in overtime, whatever, the rest of the way, there's a 6th loss. Now the playoffs are looking a little bit questionable.
Exactly.
God forbid you drop 2. There's a 7th loss. You know, like
you're fighting for your life at that point.
You're leaving yourself no room for error. And I know it's not their fault. It's injuries. I do get that. I don't know. Just at the start of the year, no one was giving the Steelers a chance, and now all of a sudden it's like, wait, hold on. They're the only team left who has a pulse.
And I mean, at this rate, I mean, you kind of have to look at this divisional thing. I think the Ravens are still favored to win the division, which is crazy.
That's nuts to me. Just considering
I have to. I'm gonna check DraftKings real quick to see how.
No, it
how
was.
crazy that
No, it was. I think they were like minus 120, and the Steelers were plus 130 or something.
Geez, what? Here, let's go division specials. I couldn't find the actual division thing. Steelers to get first is now minus 105. Ravens is plus 115.
Okay,
so they are now favored. They are now favored. I think
that means people put money on them, though. That means like fans,
absolutely,
yeah, put money on the Steelers.
Shifted the lines. All right. The Broncos and Patriots were able to take down the NFL's last 2 undefeated teams. Broncos went for 2 late in that game to take a 1-point lead. There were some issues with some potential flags not being thrown at the end of the game. Don't blow a 17-3 lead, Philly. Patriots, honestly, Drake May is looking like a young budding star in the NFL. Really enjoyed watching him play. And Stephon Diggs and him are starting to build a real rapport right now. And they were just really fun to watch on Sunday night.
So I want to make this. I called the Broncos beating the Eagles. People might say it's fake because I pick against the Eagles every week, but it's not fake. It's real, and it happened. Okay. No. In all seriousness, I knew the Eagles. I couldn't get off of that because honestly, they have gotten lucky and lucky week after week. Refs have bailed them out. The freaking tush push, all the stuff that happened with that. I was over it. They had to lose. And I get the Broncos got a couple favorable calls, but it was about time the Eagles didn't have the refs on their side. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. And also there were some I don't know if I'm going to get into this in this episode. I've gotten some shade from you and Hunter before for not being able to watch full NFL games. And every time I watch a primetime matchup, it reminds me of why I don't watch full NFL games and why I watch Red Zone. I cannot stand the constant laundry on the field. Like every primetime game, there's 15 or more flags thrown. It's every darn play. It's not the NFL. If they were to step back their penalties would be a phenomenal product. But the officiating in the league has too much say over what's going on in the games. And it's just disgusting, in my opinion. I like college for that matter of fact. Yes, the players aren't that much better, but they also, like in the Big Ten, you never see a flag for holding. You never see a flag for any like DPI whatsoever. And sure, maybe they could throw one or two, but I like that they let them play football. And Penn State fans I see beefing about like holding. And I'm like, wait a minute. I made the same complaint last year when we played Ohio State. They just let you play physically, and like you just have to get used to that brand of football for what league you're playing in my humble opinion.
I do think there's a line, and Denida Sutton getting held on a 3rd down when he had a clear shot at Dylan Gabriel. That was the most That
Dante Moore.
wasn't subjective.
Yeah.
That was holding. I mean,
Mhm.
everybody, Oregon fans have said that's holding. Um, to me,
Yeah.
that's when the penalty should be thrown, right? I get letting them play
I agree.
physically.
Egregious stuff. Egregious
Yeah,
stuff is fine with me.
I get letting them play, but like when it actually affects the game to that point and it is that blatant, you can't
Mhm.
keep the flag in your pocket. That's just then why are
I
you
agree.
there at that point?
Yeah, yeah. There's a happy medium between not calling anything and then just throwing
But
laundry
then
every
you're
time
right
you see
on
something.
NFL primetime games. As soon as I mean, dude, I think it was. Did you watch the Chiefs game last night?
Yeah, I watched pretty much every game.
I think there was a 3 play window where multiple flags were thrown in a row,
Yeah,
and I was like, and they would show the replay, and the commentator would be like, "Oh well, yeah, I could see it, but at the same time, don't love that being called." And that happened literally 3 times in a row, and I'm like, so are these guys just throwing their flags as soon as the play starts and then picking something to like
yeah.
actually give them a penalty for? By the way,
Well, there was a
question real
lot of
quick.
issues with that game last night, by the way, with like the pick plays that were happening. Like
Yeah, I agree.
The Chiefs scored on a pick play, and like by
Juju
rule,
Smith Schuster.
it was very subjective because of there is gray area in that rule. He was right around a yard. All right. When he made contact, the ball was still in the quarterback's hands, so he technically legally could do that. The second that Mahomes left the ball, he did turn and look like he was running a route, but he did not run a route off the bat. He was setting a pick play. So legally, I think that was a good pick up the flag type of call. Now, later in the game, when the Chiefs picked off it was something similar. The Jaguars were running like a little mesh concept, trying to get the defenders to knock into each other. And let's be real here. Parker Washington was fully trying to set a pick play. Lawrence threw it to the wrong guy. The tight end was wide open on the
Yeah,
outside, and he threw it behind Parker Washington. And as Parker's going, he sees a ball out of his eye, and then they run into each other. Like, I don't mean to be I'm not a Chiefs glazer. I don't like the Chiefs whatsoever. But like both of those calls, in my opinion, were well warranted within the rule book. The things that I don't like and that people were looking at, like the Chiefs had, I think, 120 yards more of penalty yardage last night. Like they got thrown like 12 or 13 flags, which is way too many. People will say, "Oh, but like it was an interception and all this kind of stuff." Like I get it. Oh, it was a touchdown. The Chiefs one was on like second down, so they had 3 more chances to score if they really wanted to. Um, the throwing the flags, and this is the biggest thing that I saw last night. If you want to impact the game, is starting field position. Every time the Chiefs returned a kickoff, there was a 10 or 15-yard penalty. Every time the Jaguars returned a kickoff, there was absolutely nothing called. That is a way to slightly impact the game without it being a game-changing play. You're flipping field position 20 or 30 yards every time you make one of those calls.
I do think that first of all, I'm done talking about penalties because
That's fine.
the NFL's
We
not.
could argue every
Yeah,
time about
yeah,
that. Yeah.
they're just not going to change. So there's no point in talking about it. I think the Chiefs might be out of their dynasty window, and I don't think people want to hear that, but I think it's over. And I know they went to
Think
the
they're a
Super
playoff
Bowl
team
last
still?
year. Well, I think they'll make the playoffs. I just think they're not going to win another Super Bowl unless something drastically changes around Mahomes.
I'd
Kelsey
agree.
is out of his prime. Their best receiver is Xavier Worthy, who on a lot of teams would be a wide receiver 3.
Hey, Rasheed's coming back.
Rasheed would be a wide receiver 2 on a lot of teams.
That's fair.
And Kelsey isn't the wide receiver 1 he used to be. Heck, he's not even the tight end 1 he used to be.
I'd agree.
I don't know. The offensive line isn't good. They still haven't really fixed that. The defense, I guess, is fine, but they gave up 31 to the Jaguars.
Chris Jones is just aging, and he's usually their best guy back
I just
there.
think they have too many players. I'm not saying Mahomes isn't the best quarterback in the league. I'm just saying they have too many players in their twilights of their career.
Yeah,
and it's
I would
caught up
agree.
to him.
Yeah.
That's it.
You get no argument from me here. They aren't the same team that we're accustomed to seeing. And I think that Super Bowl loss to the Eagles was kind of a telling sign of where they were going and who they were
By the way,
sort of
the
passing
Eagles
the
aren't
torch
the
to.
same team they were last year either, so we can get that out.
I would agree. All right. Back to finishing up from this past week. Buccaneers win another thriller of a game.
The Bucs look good, man. The Bucs
They
are
have
good.
4 wins on game-winning drives.
They're
All 4 of
exciting.
their wins are game-winning. Yeah, they're a good team. Their defense struggles,
How
but
about me
Baker
thinking
is
about Amika
exciting.
Egbuka? He's killing fantasy for me. Killing.
Amika, if you got him in Dynasty, phenomenal draft pick. And honestly, we talked about him. He was maybe the best wide receiver in the draft. That is obviously proving
Him
to
or
be
Ted?
true.
Ted's doing well
Yeah,
too.
that's doing well.
Yeah.
We just talked about the Chiefs. The Chargers are struggling with some injuries right now. Dropped to the Commanders after a 10-0
But I
lead.
will say
And
Jake
then
Daniels coming back had everything to do with that.
and honestly, the wildest thing of the entire weekend, the Cardinals blowing that game to the Titans.
The
Did
Cardinals
you
are
see
bad.
Did you see the interception fumble into
Yeah.
the end zone that the Titans
It
recovered?
was so bad.
So like little like personal thing. I don't know if you've done or are currently doing a survivor pool.
Am I?
Have you done one? Yeah, no.
I've
Have you
done
done
one in
one
the
before?
past. I didn't do one this year. No.
So Julie and I won ours last year for her work. And this week we're like, hey, let's just pick a dumb team. You get you get a buyback up until week 6 so the pot can keep rolling and get more money in. So we're like, we're not going to pick any of the really, really good teams. We're in week 5, 4-0. And we're like, let's just pick the Cardinals. Titans have stunk. Like, if we lose, whatever, so be it. We were going to buy back in for the $10 because this is the last week you can buy back in. Wow, every team that everyone picked just lost. So there's an extra $100 in the pot. And that Cardinals game was just downright stupid. Did you see Gannon? I just saw the breaking news like 30 minutes ago. Gannon got fined for like the slap on DeMercado after he dropped the football. After watching everyone else do this, how do you just not hold on to the football going through the end zone? I will never understand.
I don't know.
It's so stupid, man.
Also, though, I will say this, and I get you guys can buy back in. If you're in a survivor pool, do yourself a favor and never pick the Cards. Let me just put that out there.
It was a strategic, we're not going to pick them the rest of the year, so let's just get a dumb one out of the way.
They would be on one of the teams I just would, out of like the 15 teams I would not pick throughout the year.
Some people, because they knew they could get risky with it, were picking the Giants against the Saints this week. So, yeah, there were some ballsy people. All right, we're going to get into our few segments. Although Hunter is not here, he has given us a waiver wire pickup of the week. His studs and duds will come back in the following episode. We have Darren Waller. So he's a guy we briefly mentioned, I believe, last week. This week, he still looks like a favorite target of Tua. He was 5 catches, 78 yards, and an interception, and a touchdown.
Not an interception.
Not an interception. He ain't throwing the football.
Yep.
But yeah, he's looking not quite like the old Darren Waller we used to see, but he's looking like a lot better and more productive player than we had thought he would be coming into the year. Now, leaving that, we did have some big injuries over the course of the week that we just like to point out. Brenton Strange just heard today. He went on IR. I know he was kind of a sleeper tight end pick in that back end tight end one range.
He's having a good season, silently. Very quiet, good season.
So he will be out for at least 4 weeks. Amarian Hampton is now out for 4 weeks. So if we're looking on a fantasy perspective, Hassan Haskins and Kamani Vidal are your 2 guys to look for. I'd probably go more on the Hassan Haskins route than Kamani Vidal for the sole fact that the Dolphins are the next team and their rush defense is atrocious. They just let Rico Dowdle run for 200 on them, and it's Rico freaking Dowdle. So I would pick up Hassan Haskins and start him. Vidal is your better pass-catching option. Antonio Gibson's out for the season, so that muddied up backfield is now just Ramondre and Travion. So hopefully Travion can get some more touches moving forward. And then the last one, not a huge issue, but it is for me and my team. Spencer Schrader's out for the year with a, I believe, torn ACL. Some Raiders dude dove into his legs super late after a extra point. And now we have, I would have to look it up. We did just pick someone else up today, and I'm blanking on the name. But yeah, Spencer Schrader had missed 1 kick all season. That's kind of a big change in the Colts kicking game. So you never want to have a kicker that's killing it get injured 6 weeks into the year. So
I know Hunter's not here, but I'm going to say it for me and Noah, who at the start of the season did not have much hope for either of our teams. I'm going to look at Hunter. He's not here, but who would have thought that we would all have 1 loss this far into the year? Huh? Who would have thought? Not me. Not me.
Yeah. Oh, literally all 3 of us have 1 loss. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So as good as the Eagles or Hunter
Yeah.
thinks the Eagles are, they have not
Yeah.
separated themselves.
In one of our next episodes, when all three of us are back, I want to look at some of our predictions from the
Hold up,
season.
hand up, hand up.
What?
The
What?
Colts are much better than I gave them credit for. I'm
Well,
willing to
no. What?
say that.
I wanted to look at team totals
No,
specifically
but
of our.
I'm
Yeah.
literally willing to say that hand up, I was wrong about the Colts.
Yeah. You are going to owe me a little bit of money for those
I'm not
predictions.
worried about it. Honestly, it was worth all the rage baiting I did before the season. So
Bro, I
I'm
was so
totally
angry
cool
that
with it.
episode.
I
I
know.
was so
It
angry
was
that
awesome.
episode, man.
No, dude, good on Daniel Jones, and honestly, he's a super likable guy. So the
Mhm.
fact that he's actually playing well, I'm actually happy for him.
All right, that means a lot that you're saying that, but
Yeah, there you
I'm
go.
happy. I'm happy the Steelers are looking good too.
I
Aaron
still hope the
Rodgers
Eagles lose every game the rest of the year. So.
That's. I mean, hey, we're in agreement on that aspect. All right, so our last thing of the day. I know Hunter's picks. I don't know yours. We are going to pick our best bets and underdogs for the week. So, from a recap, the week before, you already were bragging about your Broncos victory over the Eagles. You also hit your over. And remind me of that game again.
I forget. Wasn't it the?
It was Bengals Lions.
It was. Yep, and the
Yep.
over hit pretty easily actually.
That one hit with ease. So you are up now 0.4 units with the two hits. And in second place, Hunter lost his, and me and him lost our Browns bet, sadly. So he hit the over in the Ravens and Texans game. That also hit with ease. So Hunter is still up 0.6 units. I am in last right now, down 1.1. I broke even. I had Puka for an anytime touchdown, and that was a plus 100, so it evened out my Browns bet. So, yep. So Hunter's up 0.6 units. You're up 0.4, and I'm down 1.1. Hunter coming into the week is taking Browns money line against the Steelers. So I think he's taking your trend. Browns money line against the Steelers.
That's terrible.
At plus 200. And then the Eagles and Giants over 40.5 at minus 110. So, Phil, who do you got for your underdog for the week, and what's your best bet?
Okay. My best bet is the over for the Bears Commanders, which is 50.5. I just think the winner's going to score 30 something and the loser's going to be in the 20s. So that will cover the over. And then my underdog. Oh, my best underdog. This week is brutal with underdogs. I'm not going to lie to you. The underdog's just the underdog winning outright or covering.
That's winning outright.
Winning outright. Daggone. Daggone.
Also, Hunter is now getting more value since I wrote it down. That Browns play is now up to 205.
My best underdog. Give me the Giants. Give me the Giants against the Eagles. Give it to me, baby.
Oh my God. Of course he is.
Jackson Dart is him, bro. I'm in.
I mean, Saquon's a little banged up right now. Their egos are hurting.
And I can't wait for Hunter to text me after he listens to this episode. Jalen Hurts in that game, second best quarterback. That's all I'm going to say.
Bo Nix is the truth. All right. We'll finish up here with my picks, and then if we have anything else to say, we'll chat about it. I am taking one, like 2 weeks ago, I would not have taken, but I really did not like what I saw from the Chargers. And I think that the Dolphins are finding a little bit of rhythm, albeit they did just lose. I'm going to take the Miami Dolphins at plus 190 here against the Chargers with their left tackle out, another offensive lineman hurt. They just made a trade. And then Amari Hampton, their stud rookie running back, is now out for 4 weeks. So I think this is a good time to get a little bit of value.
I thought about it.
It's a good time to get value on teams playing against the Chargers right now. Chargers are still a good team, don't get me wrong, but they are beatable at this current point in time with their roster.
I had to do it for the plot, though. I'm big into
I get it.
So,
dude, you're consistent.
Yeah,
we appreciate that. And then because of what I've been seeing from these Seahawks and Jaguars, all of us are on an over this week. I'm going to take over 46.5 in that game.
Okay.
I just think with what I saw out of Darnold against the Bucs defense, he's been cooking. Honestly, he's been doing really well. Trevor Lawrence looked very, very solid as well. Both of these defenses are susceptible through the air. I really like that game going into like the low 50s, mid 50s, something like that. So, honestly, I like all of our picks this week. I think they all have a pretty solid chance of hitting, except for the Browns.
I think you never know what's going to happen in a Steelers Browns, Steelers Bengals, Steelers Ravens
Yeah.
game.
Divisionals.
I would not be comfortable taking Steelers minus 5.5, but I also wouldn't be comfortable taking Browns plus 5.5. So, I mean, you just don't know. Divisional rivalries are tough. I do think the Steelers find a way. That Browns offense is not good. Actually, historically bad would be a good way to describe it. Their defense is solid, but I think Aaron Rodgers, if he plays like anything he's played so far, he takes command of the offense. He won't put up gaudy stats, but he'll do just enough to have the Steelers coming out of that game with a W.
Yeah. All right. Phil, you got any closing remarks? Anything to any games to be excited to watch this weekend? Like, what's your weekend looking like
right
here?
now? Like, I don't
Okay.
I'm
Phil's
like,
going golfing.
Yeah, no, like that's where I'm going to the beach, but yeah,
Yeah, you
pretty
did say
much.
that.
Yeah,
Golf at the beach.
Yeah, golf at the beach. But no, dude. Right now, I have to find my joy again with football. Everybody, please say whatever. If you believe in good vibes, if you believe in God, say a prayer. If you believe in good vibes, just send me good vibes. Football. Right now, I'm not interested because of the way Penn State's played. But guess what? I'll be watching on Saturday. So there you go.
If you're looking for some potential free money, there's two ways you can look at this. All right. Penn State is a 3-touchdown favorite with a hook against Northwestern. So if you're going to root on that downfall with the stadium kind of being dead, the fire James Franklin, and the team coming out slow, I don't foresee Northwestern winning this game. The covering 21.5, when I believe they covered that against Oregon, I think that's a doable thing. And if we're looking way too close into the results here, I would take UCLA plus 8.5 against Michigan State.
I would
Michigan
definitely
State's
take
not
the
great.
UCLA game. I don't agree with the Northwestern game just because I think James Franklin knows he's kind of coaching for his job now. He is going to have that team playing hyped up.
We'll talk about this more with Hunter. I don't think Franklin's playing for his job this year. We can't afford that buyout.
Well, guess
we
who
did
is?
hire an eight. We did hire an AD,
offensive coordinator, because of the stuff I sent you earlier.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully he's out of here.
Yeah, no, I hope so. I'm not gonna, because it's not a for sure thing, but I will let our listeners know. We have a couple sources, and honestly, reputable. There's at least talk inside the Lash building of getting rid of Kotelnicki right now. There's at least talk. Now, could he still, end up the offense ends up humming and having a great rest of the year, and he stays? Absolutely. But there is at least substantial talk that he does not make it through the next couple weeks.
I wish Franklin was more of an X's and O type of guy, because we would be a lot better. He's a very good, family oriented, get the team together, grinding.
He's a motivator,
but he's not a good coach.
No.
In terms of the X's and the O's.
He gets paid a lot of money to be good at motivating and recruiting.
Yep. And that's what he does. And we need someone to take us to that next level that can motivate, recruit. We need a crackhead. That's what we need.
I would agree. But I will say, no, man, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll love football again after this weekend. I will say a Penn State 50-point drubbing of Northwestern, I wouldn't be fully back on board, but I would be ready to get hurt again. I will say that.
I want to see one, and I do like Franklin's mentality here. It's 1-0 every week. Let's take care of business with Northwestern. Quite frankly, the game that worries me the most in the head scope of things is going to be Iowa. Iowa night game at Kinnick. That's going to be a tough place to play. We have a bye preceding that game, but we got to take care of business there. If we can win the next two, I will then have a little bit of faith in us to at least make the Ohio State game close. And also, with us playing Indiana at home, I have always thought that regardless of where we are, that is still a winnable game.
I think it's winnable. Hear me out. I think it's winnable if we beat Ohio State. The reason I say that is because I do think 2 losses and 3 losses, especially in today's college football, will lose some of the team. If we lose,
that's true. The quit factor, and then Indiana has everything to play for. At
exactly.
That point, so.
But that's why we watch. So let's see what happens.
Yeah. All right, guys, we appreciate you tuning in for another episode. Stay tuned for a lot more of our social media posts, stuff like that. We took a little bit of a week off. I was trying to repost some of the stuff from the Penn State Oregon tailgate, and we will get some clips up this coming week. Know you guys are liking those NFL and college clips of us just chatting. I really want to get the whole squad back together. But in the meantime, enjoy and watch some good football games this weekend.
Peace, guys.